Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to Heavenly album covers? Heavenly album covers? Yes, I'd like to go to Heavenly album covers right now. Heavenly album covers? Yes, Heavenly album covers. Where is it? Why, it's right here. And so here we are on a rainy day. It's been raining all night and most of the morning, and there's nothing else to do. Everything is closed today, and we don't really want to do an album cover review today or talk about album covers. And we still have energy, so we thought we would do at least two separate overviews of the Heavenly album cover mini disc portable collection. We will either divide this program into 3 programs or 2, perhaps 4 if it goes well, but at least 2. And I personally was introduced to mini disc recorders in 1996. I lived in the outskirts of London, England. I would commute to central London, to the Bloomsbury area. Sometimes I would commute to the Notting Hill area, but there was a little stereo shop across the street called Sounds, Sounds. It was a chain store, audio store, and it was located right across from one of the places I used to work. And I had to do some editing on some cassette tapes, and I found out that I could do that with a mini disc component thing, a thing called the MDS 320. It's just a standalone component mini disc recorder and player that you could use at home. So I bought one of those. I also bought a little equalizer too at the same time. And I brought it home and I did my little tape editing with it. It's really easy to do with a component mini disc recorder. And I kind of forgot about mini discs for 3 or 4 years after that. I came back home to America, and I had accidentally left my mini disc MDS 320 over in London. I eventually got that one back, but in the meantime, I picked up a duplicate model, that component unit, MDS 320 here in America. And then I was doing things with that mini disc machine. And then years and years later, I actually discovered that there were things called mini disc portable units. And my mind was blown. I didn't even know portables existed. I only knew about this particular mini disc that I owned a couple of times. And so mini disc portables were really cheap. This was about 10, 11 years ago. They were really cheap on eBay. They still kind of are, depending on what you want. But I suddenly started buying all these mini disc players, and sellers would just include all sorts of accessories and blank tapes and pre-recorded tapes. And within about 8 or 9 months, I had amassed this huge mini disc portable collection. And that's what we have here in two of these big metal boxes where I keep the mini disc players here at Heavenly album covers. And so after all that, we are going to look at hopefully most or all of these mini disc portables. I haven't touched these in about a year and a half. I just was doing other things, and I knew they were safe in these boxes, so I just never touched them. Prior to that, I would use mini disc recorders all the time. I would keep one in my pocket for just any sort of recording occasion. I would make recordings at the beach or in shopping malls or at the post office, at the bank. And so I have a lot of, I guess, street recordings that I've done on MINIDISC. And we're not really going to look at the discs today. I think we did that before. But let's go into these MINIDISC portables right now. And I'll have to periodically have a sip of coffee. Is that correct? Very correct. I agree. And so we start off with, sometimes the model number is really small on these things. This is an MZE60. It's a pretty thing. Looks kind of like a marijuana leaf here. Maybe one of the designers was into pot. And the batteries on these things are kept, a lot of times they're kept in these little slots. Sometimes you have to have a separate battery co-pilot or whatever they call those, battery pack that attaches on. This one attaches where, I don't know, but maybe it just uses this battery. But this is real pretty, it's real shiny. MINIDISC designs are just mostly very beautiful, very nice. I'm going to put these back in the little slots where I found them so I don't have to do it later. This is a, yeah, as you can see, I keep these very professionally kept. This is a, what is this? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. We'll find out later. This is a basic MINIDISC recorder. It's been so long since I touched these, I forgot how they work. You put the MINIDISC in here, pop it there. It's got microphone inputs and headphone outputs. You can change different little settings. For the time, for the 1990s, this was pretty sophisticated stuff, and it still is. And maybe we'll talk about the fate of MINIDISC recorders later, maybe next year. This is a Sharp. People really, collectors really want these because they look like little tanks or little vaults. And I still don't know how this thing works. It's supposed to, I think you're supposed to be able to title tracks with this little spinning device. And this thing is built like a tank. This is a little door where the tape goes in. I have another one of these where the door has become detached. I think I put it back together. And you're supposed to, if you're in school, you would put this around your hand and walk to school and play your MINIDISC. But this is really neat. It's got this little switch. And I'm gonna put it back where I found it. I can tidy them up later. For a while, my wife she belonged to this beauty subscription club, and every month or every couple of weeks, they would send her these little makeup pouches, and I would steal the bad ones from her and use them to keep my MINIDISC portables in. And this is a power strip, a power cord for a Sharp device. Maybe it's in here, the Sharp 11. And we have there's a little battery pack, or actually that's a battery for a Sony. This, I think, belongs to this, if I can get it out of there. Some of these are kind of wedged between dangerous pieces of metal. Actually, this doesn't belong to anything yet, so here's another nice one. Most of these work. If they don't work, I've usually put a little note on it that says does not work. And this is really this looks like the dashboard of an automobile, really. You've got the controls, a little readout, little display here. I think you open it with this thing. Pop your MINIDISC in, and you've got stereo portable sound. This is a MZR37. This is a standard kind of early to mid period MINIDISC recorder, and that's going right back in the slot here. We've got the MINIDISCs right there. It's real handy there. It's very rare to see mini discs in the real world. Now this is in a little mini disc pouch. It doesn't have a brand on it. And there we have a high quality mini disc. This is a RH10. As time went on, Sony developed something called high mini disc, which was like a better hard drive. You would make better quality sounding recordings on this model. There were many other models like this, and I'm not sure if this works. I'm sure it does. And it had, you would use a little, I think they called them chewing gum batteries. They were shaped like little pieces of Wrigley's chewing gum, and pop the battery in there, lock it up. And this is really nice. Sony was kind of moving into more high-end quality things. There's all the inputs. That's about all I can say about the RH10. Let's see where we are. Here's one that's, see, these were, the reason why these are in little pouches is because I was using these in the real world to make recordings, and this is really safe and nice. It's a nice little mini disc holder. I guess you could put pretzels or soft drinks in here. This is the amazing, I didn't know it was in that little case. This is the NH1, I believe. This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is the very last Sony mini disc recorder that was made. There was a portable called the RH1, the Sony RH1, that had and still has some serious problems. The RH1 had a display that would fade after a while. It was an OLED display, an organic display, and that thing would fade. So you would pay $300 or $400 for a RH1, and then pretty soon the display would go haywire and stop working. This is the NH1. This is just as good as the RH1, and this is the machine to have. It's a beautiful device. All the controls are here. They're a little smaller than normal mini disc portables, and I'm trying to figure out where there's the hatch, and there's a mini disc in there. So that's a 1 gigabyte high mini disc. You can put I think tens of hours of audio on this thing, and by the time I picked this up, my interest in mini disc kind of waned a little bit, but just seeing these now is very inspiring. This is a really good player, and this has a little charging stand that we'll come across in a little bit. I think I'm going to stop, and we will continue this in episode 2. Right? You are very correct. Let's move on to episode 2